next up, we have Alligator Energy. So Alligator has built out, rather, a pretty interesting portfolio across both development and exploration assets in uranium-friendly South Australia, with the field recovery trial currently underway. I think Guy was actually on site yesterday, so very interesting times to be around. I'm going to hand you over to Andrea, who is going to run you through a little bit more of the project.
Great. Thank you, Jane. And hello, everyone. Good morning. Um, we're Alligator Energy, a junior explorer come developer, entering into the development space with our Samphire Uranium Project in South Australia. So we'll be talking a lot about this project today. Look, our market cap is around 150 million. Mostly retail investors, but similar to what George mentioned in his talk, our last capital raise, which was around September last year, again started to see some institutional investors come in to the portfolio, which was pleasing for us and a signal for us around our ongoing development and growth as a company. We have two main projects, the Samphire Uranium Project in South Australia. It's an in situ recovery project similar to the Peninsula Lance project. And that's about to undertake, or we're undertaking site trials at the moment, where Guy visited that facility yesterday. And we've also got a greenfields exploration play up in the Cooper Basin in the northeast of South Australia, and where we made a discovery of uranium there around August 24. And I'll talk a bit about that project later in the slide deck. As I said, we're in South Australia, which is probably the ISR capital of Australia at the moment, because South Australia is such a friendly jurisdiction for uranium mining. So we've got 5 mines in operation already. 4 of those are in situ recovery mines. We're close to a regional town of Whyalla, and so it's sort of a unique situation for this project where it's not remote. So the future mining operation will be not having to pay OPEX for FIFO, and we can source a lot of our staff from the local town in Whyalla, which is only 20 kilometres away. Excellent proximity to infrastructure. We've got power and water already to the site, and also access to engineering services and the like to support the project. The Whyalla town itself is a steel town, and it's actually going through some issues around administration around the steelworks. And so the local government, the state government are really supportive of Alligator developing this project. So we've been working here for around 3 years. We've purchased the project in 2020, where it was discovered, this uranium deposit called the Blackbush deposit was discovered around 2006 by the previous owner of the project, and developed that through around 400, 500 drill holes. In that time, they owned that asset, and of course the uranium price took a dive around 2016. So, and then we purchased it around 2022, and started to develop this going forward. So we've been drilling out there for about 3 years, making sure we've got the right resource to take forward to production. So there is 2 areas of uranium mineralisation primarily in this project, which is the Blackbush deposit, which I've just mentioned. That has 18 million pounds already defined under JORC. 78% of that is in the indicated category. And 5 kilometres to the south is a prospect called the Plumbush Prospect, which has previous defined uranium mineralisation. And we're currently working on a mineral resource estimate, which will be published shortly on that area. So we will be the next uranium mine permitted in Australia. So that's what we're aiming for. And we've got a good stage pathway to production now, particularly in our de-risking activities that we're undertaking. We did do a scoping study in December 23, which showed very robust economics, and that was at $75 a pound. And I'll take you through some of those metrics in the next slide. We also started to realise that in order to get to production and targeting that 2030, 2031 timeframe, we needed to start our approvals for a field recovery trial. So we got those approvals in August last year. Concurrent with that approval process, we were also building a modularised small plant in the background for when we received the government approval, we could get into construction straight away. So that construction of the pilot plant ceased around December last year, and from January, February, we've been commissioning this plant, and I'm pleased to say that on Saturday we started to inject reagents into the formation to start releasing uranium. So currently we are seeing uranium come through the pilot plant, which is very encouraging. So this step is really a key de-risking step for the project. All indications things are going according to our plans and our forecasts at the moment. So we're very pleased where we're sitting in terms of this operating at the moment. The field recovery trial too is key in terms of developing our bankable feasibility study, which is also currently running in parallel to this field recovery trial. And also running in parallel, we've just kicked off our mining lease application. So we've got 3 key de-risking exercises going on at once. And again, we're targeting that first production in 2030, 2031. And we're always working with government to try to bring that forward. And the reason I think we could probably maybe improve on the 2030, 2031 production is because we've already gone through this 3-year approval process to get our field recovery trial in place, which is really just a mini mine lease application. So we're well aware and well across the issues that we need to address in order to get a full mine in place. And we're going to try to fast track as much as we can. But at the end of the day, we are the critical path is always how fast governments can approve these things. So, but we're doing everything our end to get this underway sooner rather than later. So in the between finishing the field recovery trial, which is only going to go for about 3 or 4 months, we are also now focusing to extending the mineral resource inventory, particularly the mining inventory. So over the next year or two, we'll be focusing on that in a very bullish way, and we're just working through securing additional rigs to be able to realise the potential of the pounds that are in this system that we have under exploration lease. So this is the scoping study undertaken, and again in December 23. Excuse me, the study was done under $75 a pound in long-term uranium price. And Guy mentioned we're now in the 90 to 92 space, so the metrics would considerably improve here. The CapEx, again, escalation, we're probably looking at a CapEx around 160, 170, $80 million to build a full-scale plant. So it's still well in the economic range of developing a mine here. And anyway, we'll update all of these metrics in our bankable feasibility study, which we're targeting the first half of next year to publish. This is the pilot plant that we've built out there. It's all modularised, light touch. There's no solid footings. We constructed this on time and on budget. The whole investment into this is around $7 million in terms of the build and the CapEx and the equipment. We did want to invest significantly into this facility because it's close to Whyalla, and we're close to communities, we're close to people living nearby. So we wanted to demonstrate that ISR uranium mine in South Australia could really be a benefit to their community, and it's not an eyesore. Everything blends into the background there, and that we can be a meaningful contributor to the Whyalla community. So we're doing this as A1 as we can in terms of also environmental management as well. So as I said, we've got uranium coming into the plant now, and we're looking forward to some of those key metrics coming through to start inputting into our BFS. in terms of the team and the project itself, like George has just mentioned, also having a considered ramp up is key to ISR projects, and we're no different to that. So our ramp up will include 2 years of ramp up, similar pounds to what George mentioned, around 200 then 400,000 pounds. The project itself will be around a 1.2 million pound per year production profile over 12 years at the current 18 million pounds that we have available to us to mine. It's that 18 million pounds that we're going to put under a mining lease right now. So we've got 12 years in the bag for our production, but as I said, we're going to work feverishly to try to get that mineral resource estimate up and the mining inventory up to extend the mine life. We have a team that have over 65 years of in situ recovery operational experience in the company, and I've been working very hard to build that up over the last year or so. My background's in ISR of the last 20 years, so I've explored, I've developed, and I've also operated an ISR mine. So we understand where the pitfalls are in ISR mining. So with this project, we can bring that embodied knowledge into the space and make sure we don't repeat previous lessons learned. And so things like drill spacing is critical to us in terms of understanding the deposit in detail. We drill down to around 25 metre spacing before we make any decision about where we put production wells or plan production wells for the BFS. And we focus on the wellfield because the wellfield is your money maker. So we're highly focused on making sure our geological team understands that, so we get the economics right going into the BFS. We're very focused on making sure that 2 to 3 years of first production is safe and deliverable, and the integrity of that stacks up to make sure we can deliver that into the market. We also have a good pipeline for resource growth, which I'll talk to in a sec, but we'll make sure that our approvals for the future mine can also flex to include new resource and perhaps include an uptick in the production rate. In terms of resource growth, this area here on the right, you see Blackbush there. That's the 18 million pounds to support our current proposed operation. Plumbush to the south, and it's all hosted within a paleochannel system buried around 80 metres at depth. Now, our estimate of the exploration target range here in this paleochannel system is around 15 to 75 million pounds, and that excludes the Blackbush resource. So the upside is Plumbush MRE that we're working on right now, and most of the drilling in this paleochannel has only been focused on 30% of it. So 70% is untouched by any drill holes. And you'll see in this picture to the right, there's a couple of historical holes there that intersect the paleochannel that have very good grades and are at mine grade intersections. So we're really keen to get out there and start looking at particularly the strike extension of Blackbush. We're negotiating access with the landholder that has that region ownership. So we're just closing out that access agreement. So we'll be drilling across the fence there in the months to come. Plumbush also, the mineral resource estimate that we're going to convert to an unclassified to an inferred category of JORC. And then again, we've got the wider paleochannel system that has great potential for further discoveries. So just summarising on the activities, we're right into our field recovery trial operations as we speak. The news flow from that will start coming out next week and beyond as we get results through the plant. Our BFS is underway. We've selected the contractor that's helping us with that study, and they're underway constructing the models for that as we speak. And we're also thick into the mining lease approvals and engaging the state and federal government on that aspect. I just want to touch on the Big Lake project that I mentioned earlier. It's in a basin called the Lake Eyre Basin, which overlies the Cooper Basin, again in South Australia. And we pegged this ground because it's geologically analogous to some of the larger ISR fields in, say, in Kazakhstan, associated with an oil and gas basin, and Wyoming, Texas. So there was no mineral exploration in this area because it's pegged by the oil and gas players. So it's the first time mineral exploration has actually been undertaken in this area. We spent around 2 years targeting using all of the historical hydrocarbon wells and all the information that we could pull together, including a lot of seismic information. And we targeted our first lot of drilling in this area called Site 10. And we were very pleased to see that we discovered good thicknesses of sand, which is what you want for ISR, and also anomalous uranium, very anomalous uranium. And so that's all, within 108 meters of the surface. So it's perfect situation for ISR. And we're hoping to get out there later this month it's going to be around mid-April now, because we've had rain here that's been precluding us from getting out there. So we're targeting mid to late April to have another rig and understand the breadth of this discovery. And, we hope that it'll unlock another province in South Australia for uranium mineralisation. So we've got a large land holding there, and there's more than enough work to do out there. So we're going to start scratching away out there in late April, mid-April. So just recapping, South Australia is really the key jurisdiction for ISR at the moment in terms of legislation allowing exploration and mining, and also a proven government that has approved in situ recovery mines 4 times over. So we've got the team to really take this project forward. We've got all the key skill sets in place now to develop this into a mining operation. And we've also got great exploration upside and very near-term potential to realise an increase in our mining inventory. So I'm really looking forward to delivering that, and that'll be delivered over multiple news releases over the coming months and year, particularly with the results from the field recovery trial and our BFS being released. So watch this space for our up-and-coming exploration results and field recovery trial results. So thank you very much for having me today, Jane. Thanks.
No, not a problem. Andrea, great presentation. I'll get you to stop sharing your screen there and we can jump into some questions. And again, webinar attendees, I encourage you to use the Q&A function, which can be found at the bottom of your screen. Let me firstly jump in. Your Heathgate Resources experience, I think you're being very modest here. Was it over a couple of decades or a decade, perhaps? I think it was quite substantial, and it's one of Australia's longest running uranium ISR projects. I want to ask you, how important was that experience there? And what are you sort of bringing in? I know you touched on this in your presentation, but just to reiterate, what experiences and takeaways are you taking from that particular experience in your life?
I think I've spent around 20 years at Heathgate on and off. My last stint was 15 years with the organisation, and it's a private organisation, so not many people understand, or there's no news releases that come out of there. So my experience, I was the first exploration geologist for the team. The team was 20 people at that point, given a drill rig to go out and find uranium in the Frome Basin in South Australia. So at that point, that was, a very good experience to have, and coming from a gold background and transferring skills. But anyway, as I moved through the organisation, and particularly after discovering 4 Mile, which was a game changer for the company, I then was moved, I chose to then move into other aspects of an operation, such as permitting 4 Mile into production, which I did. And then after it was in production, then I moved to operating the mine, just to get that operational experience. So I've got the full cycle of from exploration to operation here, and I saw the Samphire project as a good time to apply that knowledge to this project because it was just we just bought the asset and it was a project that people probably didn't notice much before, and I could see its potential. So we got to work, and here we are today. So I think it's a testament to the team and also that embodied knowledge that is bringing forth. A lot of people that used to work for me now work for me here. So we've worked together before. We know each other's skill set and apply that not to the field recovery, not only to the field recovery trial, but also to the building of this future mine that we've got before us.
Oh, absolutely. You're very humble, actually. You should be very proud of what you've achieved. So Alligator is very lucky to have you. Um, you touched on this again in your presentation. What do you think really differentiates Alligator in this space at the moment?
Look, I think it's really, I keep saying the team, and I know people often say we've got the team, but I really do believe we've got the team, and that's going to deliver the results going forward. Everyone knows what they're doing. Um, we've got the smartest minds in terms of, I think in Australia, putting their minds to how to discover the next pound. And we apply integrity to that, and every pound that we release is a real pound. So, that's always been my mantra. So it's that integrity piece, being integrous and making sure that what we say we do, we deliver on as much as we can in our capacity to control it. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you did speak about this, but being permitted, you've got environmentals, mining leases and everything underway. You've got that exploration upside as well, which is phenomenal. So well done. Um, we have run so much over time, but I just want to ask you, okay, got MRE coming up. What else should investors be looking forward to from a news flow perspective in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. No. The game changer really is this field recovery trial. So,
Mm.
it's the major re-rating for us, plus increasing our mineral resource estimate and our pounds in even in our inferred categories. It's getting us up to the 30 million pound target, which is a robust project. So, and 18 million pounds is already a robust project, but we do want to really push, and that's the reason why we're engaging extra rigs now to realise that. So we really want to get that achieved by the end of the year. So there'll be a lot of news flow with the progress of that work.
Oh, very much. Well, looking forward to it, and hopefully the rain stays away for you so you can keep getting to work. But
Right.
Andrea, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. And if we have missed any questions, please feel free to reach out again via info@janemorganmanagement.com.au. But Andrea, thanks again.